and now we are recording.
Awesome.
And welcome to Shift Happens, brother. We've got Clancy Dollard, and Clancy and I go way back. I'll let Clancy introduce himself, but Clancy and I have known each other for 10, 12 years. Yeah, quite a while. Clancy's out in Arizona now, but Clancy, if you want to just tell the people who you are.
Yeah. At my core, I'm a kind of customer experience, customer service enthusiast. That's what drives me through my entire career, basically. But specifically, my lane has typically been IT support centers, IT service desks, kind of mid-sized IT service desks, between, call it 100, 300 representatives or agents. And what I love doing, like way back when I was like individual contributor on the phones, the thing that I loved is just the thrill of just being able to like help somebody through something in their greatest moment of need. They're calling because they have no other recourse. They're reaching out because they need you to help. And so I really enjoyed that. But what I found was I was limited by the day, by the number of calls that I could take, in terms of the people that I could help. I wanted to keep raising it up to where, look, if I can teach people how to do what I'm doing, then I'd feel that much better about it. And then if I could teach people how to teach people to do what I'm doing, then I'd feel even that much, like just kind of keep taking it up. And so that's where I've been. And so currently I'm with the University of Arizona doing kind of what I've always done. They call it here the 24/7 support center. But it's essentially the tier 1 support for the entire university, faculty, staff, students, all that. So kind of just in my lane, doing what I've always done, which, I love. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Well, and I know you in my experience working with you, like you're a great leader. I think you had great relationships with the team when I watched you leading, and I had a great relationship with you. Hell, I remember when I was trying to get promoted, even you taking time to sit down with me, and I'm like, hey, I think I was meeting with Zane at the time, who was our CEO, and I was like, hey, any advice? And I just remember how like helpful you were in that process, dude. So
I
it's
remember,
a little off course, but do you remember that? You remember sitting down with me?
The exact room that we were in the Bath building. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like that's a blast from the past. And that's really like, we kind of knew of each other, but I think that's really kind of where our first connection, like where we like actually acknowledged that, we existed in the universe. But
I came and hunted you down, and I was like, hey, would you be cool? And you were so gracious about it. You were like, yeah, dude. Yeah. And I don't remember if it was right in that moment or later, but you took the time to sit down with me. And I think that's a wise move on my part to meet with you, to get a better understanding, but also like the fact that you took the time to be like, because it was a competitive interview process. And I think you helped me get a better understanding of like what was required. So I credit you for helping me there, which is just kudos to your leadership and helping replicate people. And I know, so I'm going to kind of just ask you some seriously random questions here, dude, but
go for it.
Like if you look, so what is like over the course of your career, because you've been dealing with service centers for some time, like what's changed in your mind since we've met over the last 10 years? Like, and Shift Happens, you see shifts happening inside work, and like, I know it's a big question, but
it's so interesting because so much has changed, but then a lot has really stayed the same. And I think that's kind of the point that you're trying to make in kind of breaking through and being a disruptor in the BPO space, is it has kind of stayed static. I mean, yes, technology has changed. There've been improvements. IVRs can be automated, and now you're throwing in AI, LLMs, but then you layer on top of that now agentic AI, which is, if we want to later get into the details of that, that's different than just regular LLM models. So that has, a lot of that has changed, but what hasn't changed is there are customers out there that need these companies to give them the support required. And so often they're just falling short. They're making the wrong decisions because for multiple reasons. One, because the wrong person's making the decision. So and you made this point in a post the other day, which is, like, hey, yo, why don't you get on a call, right? Like, why don't you find out what this is all about and then tell me what decision we should make? So like, we're listening to the wrong people, first of all, and then money. Like it's always looked at, the service centers are a cost, right? Like, well, how do we justify this cost? And what's the, we're constantly trying to justify our existence as support teams and service desks and contact centers. And I think we've been looking at it the wrong way this whole time. And so yeah, but I am, one thing that I'm really excited about, not to go tangent here, but like, I think agentic AI, voice agentic AI could be, will be, and is insanely valuable for customers if you use it right, if it's deployed properly. Because how about this? What if your SLAs were 100%, right? Like how about this? Never drop a call. And that's what happens if you use agentic AI. But my take on it is like, use it as that initial information gathering, the stuff that's just innocuous part of the discussion. And then once you have established what the customer needs, you've got a ticket going, you've gotten through all of that stuff that just burns 3 to 5 minutes of handle time, and then get it to a human who can now literally just jump in and fix and deal with the complexities of the actual issue. But now what has happened is your customers didn't wait in line. They immediately got answered. They immediately started saying, half the battle is the customer just wanting to get it off their chest. Like, I have this thing that I need to report to somebody and I need it out there. I need it captured. And so the agentic AI could do that. So anyway, sorry to burn off on that.
Apologize, man. We got plenty of time. We got plenty of time. Agentic AI, are you using that now, or is it something that you're keeping a close eye on?
Close eye, if you know anything about universities, and this is true of any big organization, but especially like an R1 university, the wheels of change is very, very slow. What we're doing now, though, that I am excited about is we use ServiceNow. I don't think I'm giving away any secrets there. Most institutions use ServiceNow, but and we're deploying what they call the Now Assist, which is ServiceNow's version of AI for chats only, not phones. Yeah. And so that's where we're going to start, our little venture into AI. And I think if we can prove that that it's effective, that it's helpful, then later people would be more open to voice AI. But voice AI is where it's at, man. Like it's just so desirable to me to just be able to say, we never drop calls. Like literally the second that you ring us, we answer.
Thank you for calling. This is Bella.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, yeah, like, sorry. And there's an outage, let's say, and like 500 people call all at once. There's no way that you could ever predict or have the staff prepared for something like that, no matter what the size of your organization is. How about all 500 get answered at the same time? And guess what? You can program the AI to have the same response to all 500 people, because 90% of the battle in those situations is they just want you to know what's happening. And if you just say, hey, we know, we got it, we'll let you know when the outage is over. That's all they wanted. That's all they wanted. So anyway, sorry, go.
No, dude, quit apologizing. Literally, we got plenty of time. So riff away, man. Riff away. Because it's always good to understand, like, obviously I take like some pretty strong stances on certain things, and I know we can even get into some of that because there's, I think, some areas we disagree in, which I don't even know if it's disagree. Maybe we just communicate it differently. But as you look at agentic AI and you look at AI in general, it is an interesting one to watch. And we get into like KPIs. So let's talk about that, because I think KPIs, there's somewhere in here. How can you be obsessed with performance if you aren't equally obsessed with reports?
Yeah.
Which I think is a fair question. So let me ask you, with AI, and we look at reports, I kind of take this very strong stance on, and it maybe goes back to the post I did the other day where it's like, hey, if you can't take the calls, you shouldn't be making the calls.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And I think my concern with KPIs is their leverage, but how do you find this balance without me giving my opinion? Because I want yours, and then I can how do you strike the balance as you implement agentic AI or AI of any sort and ensure that it gets used correctly?
Yeah, I think the short answer is slowly. I think so many people slowly with tempered expectations. The problem, I think, with AI across the board, agentic or not, LLM, whatever you're talking about, is these executives at higher levels are like, oh my gosh, AI is the thing. It's all the rage. Let's deploy this. And then they have this massive, unrealistic expectation of what it's going to do for them when there's so much more that needs to happen. Like, for example, right now, AI is garbage in, garbage out. Like, I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding, at least a little bit, of what AI truly is. And it's really just wrapping their minds around what to expect, because they expect immediate, like, oh my gosh, let's lay off the workforce tomorrow. We just deployed AI. Like, no, not exactly, even like not even close. AI, I think, is really good for enhancing the customer experience, for tackling challenges that before were pretty much impossible to deal with. For example, the one that I just brought up, like, it doesn't matter whether you have a 1,000-person call center or a 10-person call center. If your customer base all calls you at once, you're not prepared for that. Like, there's no staffing model that says, ooh, well, let's just flex the workforce and have 1,000 people waiting on the wings just in case something happens. Like, there's the cost on that would just be astronomical. There's no way. And so what AI does at a much more reasonable cost is, 500 calls came in. Guess what? Every single one of them got answered immediately. And so that's a customer pain. Waiting in line is customer pain. And so that immediately, now, if we want to go next to the next layer of it, so AI answered it, now what? Well, I wanted it to do everything. Well, okay, hold on a second. Like, large language models are pretty darn good nowadays, and they keep getting better at understanding in plain language what the human is trying to express. So that's good. But like, to the level that it could sift through and fix some complex issue that a human could, I don't think we're there, and I don't know that we'll ever be there. Like, I think there always needs to be a human intervening to deal with the complexities and the nuances. Everybody's got different things in their ecosystem that are such that you just kind of have to know that's what the deal is, and in order to really help that person. But the pain points, the real big pain points, waiting, IVRs is another one. Like, gosh dang, man, I hate IVRs. Like, just option 1 for this, option 2 for that, option 3 for that. And we talk about KPIs. For what? Like, we're really saying 1 for password reset, and 2 for network issues, and 3 for that. Is this your way of deciding, like, categorizing what issues your customers are reporting? Because I got news for you. A, they're going to do it wrong. They're going to pick the wrong thing like almost every time. And B, maybe they're picking it on purpose because they don't want to listen to the rest. They pick option one because they just want to just get to a human. And now your reporting's all off. Don't expect a customer to do your categorization for you. That's on you and your team to figure out on the back end from your notes in the system, or if you're using AI, and AI will break it down for you. But like it's insane that we still have trees where you're option one, and then there's a second layer, and then there's 4 more options, and it's like, what are we even doing? So that's the other thing that AI can sift through, is the agentic AI is the IVR. And in plain language, the human tells them what they want, tells AI what it wants and what they want, and then they're like, oh, you need the IT support center. And then it routes them to the IT support center. Those 2 things, customers not waiting and eliminating the IVR and just understanding in plain language where they need to go, those 2 things alone are total game changers. But those aren't things that you're going to see in the bottom line per se. It's about the experience. Like, you will later, because customers will be loyal to you because they don't have to wait and they don't have to deal with an IVR. But it's not like next year's fiscal year is so much better because we deployed agentic AI. Like, you have to have a longer term vision than I think some of these executives have. So I think expectations are big when you're rolling out AI.
Well, they are big. And I think AI gets viewed. AI is going to be interesting because I've had a few conversations about it. I'm not certain to any degree I can say confidently where it ends up. I don't think any of us can, and I don't think but understanding it, like, there's this perfect meme that I saw where a robot is painting a fence, and a human like basically painted the first 2 slabs and half of the third, and then said, finish this fence for me. And it did every 2.5 slabs. So every third slab was half painted because it did exactly garbage in, garbage out. Did exactly what it was told. Yeah. And so one of the things that I actually think, you look at like the Yellow AI acquisition. Yellow AI is doing a SPAC for BPOs, call centers, and they're trying to deploy their technology at scale. When you look at that, I have a multitude of concerns, and I think we could even get into it with some of the stuff that we just like did for prep work, enterprise, $550 million SPAC. Like, when you look at that, what is your, being a contact center service guy and knowing that an AI company is going and buying contact centers, how do you foresee that playing out? Maybe it's a big question, or go anywhere you want with it, really. But
I would feel a lot better about it if it was reversed. Like, if there was some enormous BPO company who then acquired an AI company, I would feel a lot better about that than what's happening here, because I don't think those people running AI understand the BPO space. I think they have the answer, and it's not, at least not right now. And so I don't know what's in their heads, right? Maybe they do understand what I just said is, you can help with immediate answer. Like you won't ever drop a call. That's really desirable. You can help with, the complexities of an IVR. So now you don't have to have your customers deal with that anymore. Sure. But do they understand that it's not, at least not yet, it is not the end all be all. And if they think they're just going to go in and do that, then we're going to have, it's going to backfire. If that's what they think, they can just go in and be like the agentic AI is the BPO. That's going to be problematic, I think.
I do too. And it gets a lot into, but like when you look at this, I think somewhere in the post, and I obviously remember writing it to a degree, but I said this is either going to be awesome or a disaster. Yeah. And I lean way more on the disaster side of that, because again, this goes into my problem with KPIs and my problem with, if you can't take the calls, you shouldn't be making the calls. Yeah. Because I bet you one thing Yellow AI has a lot of, it's data. A lot of data with a lot of smart dudes that can sit in a room and do some math problems. But I'm kind of always of the philosophy, like, you can read about golfing, you can read about bowling, but until you pick up the ball or swing the club, like, you know,
100%.
it's going to be expensive. Mark my words, dude. That's going to be, you're going to watch some capital burn. I'm not saying they won't figure it out, but in my humble opinion, that shit's going to be super expensive, and it's going to give a lot of good insights, because they're going to use their data. We're going to use their money to learn what not to do. And it's kind of a free, as a BPO guy, it's just a free opportunity to learn is how I view it. Like, let's see how this goes. I could be wrong, but it seems, I would say I got a pretty high degree of confidence. We'll see how this ages, but I think 12 months from now, there's not going to be a whole lot of action and traction happening in the LOAI front, but we'll see. No. Yeah. So I do want to touch on, because you sent me a few things that I think we'll be honest about it, where you're like, hey, I agree, but I disagree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to dig in, because I think healthy dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had said, and I touched on this just a little bit ago, we're obsessed with revenue, not reports, performance, not promises, partnerships, not contracts. So you ask, how can you be obsessed with performance if you're not equally obsessed with the reports?
Yes.
So
okay. So here's the thing. Like, it's, if you're not, if you're obsessed with the one, then you're by default obsessed with the other. But there's a caveat there. Like, I get what you're saying, right? I think we'll land at the same place. I think it was just the way it was framed. Is that what I like to drive through KPIs is the behavior, right? Like, and so, because at some point you can say, hey, we need you to be really nice to the customers, and we need you to answer the calls expeditiously, and we need you to, and you could set all these really good behavioral expectations, but then how do you know you're successful if you're not tracking those things, right? Like, for example, like I put a post out the other day in LinkedIn about average handle time, and what my statement was is track it, but track it at a macro level. Like, don't get into your contact center people's business. Like, you don't need to be managing an individual person's handle time, right? Like, let them help your customer, and however long it takes to help that customer, that's how long it takes. However, at the macro level, if your entire support center has an average handle time of 10 minutes and you desire that to be 8 minutes, don't go to your representatives and tell them to be faster. Give them the tools, and your customers the tools too, to just naturally, organically make it a faster interaction. So decrease friction for your employees. Like, if you've got some system, like maybe you have two systems and then you could merge them. Like, it depends on every company. Like, reducing friction means something different for every company, but I guarantee there's friction somewhere that you could ease the pain of for your employees, that would naturally, organically, without saying, hey guys, we need to be faster on these calls. It would just magically happen if you reduce the friction. And then on the customer side, if you gave them better tools, gave them better self-serve options, tier 0 options, then they would also maybe be a more informed customer, so that by the time they got to your team, your support team, they were light years ahead of where they were before in the previous scenario where it was 10-minute handle times. And then presto changeo, all of a sudden you have lower handle times, but it wasn't because you were impressing on your team, hey, we got to get average handle time down, or we need you to be faster. So that's what I was meaning, like at a macro level. And then the behavior that you're hopefully driving there is your team feels empowered to help the customer no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes. That's the behavior. But still track AHAT. And if you want it to be lower, there are ways to do it. but there are also very wrong ways to do it that have dire consequences if you try to manage it at the individual level. So that's just one example of like a KPI where you have a certain behavior that you want, you have a certain outcome that you want, but there's right and wrong ways to handle it.
I agree. And behavior for sure. So like, and I would even, so I have a tendency to talk in absolutes, but like, and I think what I'm trying to say here, and you said it earlier too, like, first of all, behavior, amen, bro. Like somebody going like in sales, you don't say, hey, I need you to convert more. Like that doesn't, nobody's ever walked away from a meeting like that. Like, aha, I've got the answer. Just sell more stuff. Like, but what I think the point I'm trying to drive home, and you touched on this earlier, is the fact that customer service in particular has a reputation as a cost center. And KPIs have somehow mirrored, I'm trying to think of like how to say this, because as much shit as I talk, I should get better at articulating this. But I think some CFO somewhere back in the day got really lazy with their math and just said, hey, this is a necessary evil. Let's call it customer service and throw it under OpEx in our profit and loss sheet.
Yes.
It's just a sunk cost. So how cheap can we do it? And KPIs really measure, to most degrees, the labor cost. So you're like, hey, I'm paying hourly, and obviously we need like earning calculators and all that stuff.
Yep.
And when I'm saying outcomes, I'm trying to force the discussion to say, hey, let's go beyond the cost discussion and understand the impact that happens. What is the outcome? Like, you know, when you run a good call, like with the work we did together at Bast.
Yeah.
Right. You would like, what were some of the key metrics for customer service? Average handle time, tickets closed per day.
First contact resolution or first call resolution. And there was, you know, time to resolution, like just kind of all the metrics that kind of in a KPI way explained the customer journey, but like none of that can be taken at face value. And another post that I recently put out there on LinkedIn, I'm trying to step up my LinkedIn game, Justin.
Amen, bro. Let's go.
Get to your level where you're posting daily and all that stuff. But like, so another post that's related to this that I had recently is you can't just like be hyper focused on one or two KPIs, because that does not tell the whole story. The example that I put out there was, let's say you have somebody, an individual, support representative, and they are, let's just say they're at 80% occupancy, right? Basically 80% of the time they're doing what they need to do. They're talking to a customer or wrapping up a call or whatever. And so if you just looked at that and said, oh man, they must be pretty good, right? But then what if you found out later that they take half as many calls as everybody else, right? Now, that may be good, that may be bad. I don't know. Are they just really unlucky and they're getting a whole lot of really complex calls and they're doing the right thing by taking so long with the customer? Are they talking about the weather and unnecessarily extending a call that easily could be wrapped without the customer experience suffering? I don't know. But that's where you can't just rely on just one metric to decide this is what the experience is. It's all of them put together. And then once you have this kind of collection of KPIs, you still don't know. Then you have to get into the qualitative. And then I brushed up on my ITIL the other day. I don't know if you're familiar with the ITIL framework, but you periodically, you need to go back and look at what they call your value stream. And that's basically just end to end, what does your customer experience? And dig into the details all along the way. And you can do that within the framework of just your support center. Like the second that it hits the support center and the second that it leaves, that's a little tiny value stream. And you got to go through that, like from a qualitative standpoint, and then you marry it up with the quantitative data to kind of validate your thinking. But if you make decisions just solely on one or two things, or it's just like, it's never as simple as just just one thing that's driving the behavior. You've got to look at the 10,000 foot view.
Yeah. And I think KPIs make people lazy. I mean, I like literally think they become crutches. I have no shame in the game. I hope somebody that's been in call centers for 25 years wants to talk some shit. Bring it. But they make you lazy. Like literally I've sat through BPO pitches. I've been on now being like on this side. I've been on the other side.
Yeah.
And it literally becomes a cost discussion. It is, look at an RFP. They're all centered around like, what's your business continuity plan? How much do you charge? And it becomes a series of like risk and cost.
Yeah.
And maybe like some reputation in there, like, hey, how long, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not done through the lens of growth mindset. Right. It's like the necessary evil. And so a lot of that, like but like when I talk about outcomes, like, yes, the KPIs are guides, not gods. They're guides. They let us know.
I like that. Yep.
They let us know if we're doing certain things right. But if you sit down with somebody and like a BPO, if I were out shopping BPO, the only thing they were giving me was metric data, like average handle time, blah, blah, blah. I'd just be like, okay, no.
Well, yeah, it's boring. And yeah, like it's generic. You could even argue that KPIs are, if you really want to paint that picture, they're a necessary evil, right? Like it's, yes, they need to be out there. And I want to go back to what you said, like it makes people lazy. I agree to a good degree. I agree to the degree that any number can be gamed, right? Like if you focus too hard on one thing, they will find like people, not any person, whether they're in the contact center business or not, is going to find a way to get the result that they want, regardless. If the behavior is not enforced, and the reason why we're tracking these KPIs is not made known very clearly, then they're just going to do what you want, what you want the result to be. So if you want, for example, 80% occupancy, they'll give it to you.
I know what they're doing with the other 20% of their time. Lazy. I mean,
heaven forbid to go to the bathroom or take a break or like, come 90, on, man.
98%. Come on. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
That's hilarious. No, yeah. Like it's crazy though. Like but they will find a way to give you if you're looking for a number, they'll give it to you. But at what cost? It's because I promise you, they probably aren't worried about the behavior. They're worried about hitting the number that you want. And so I've always prided, like when I left Basque and came here, or Nano Heel or whatever they call it now, right? I loved the there's a lot of challenges with being in a university higher ed space, but one thing that I really love about it is that people are in it for the cause, right? Like they're in it because there's students out there that are being educated, and they know that in some small way, their phone call, they're being a manager for it, whatever, is contributing to the success of the university. So there's kind of like a higher calling there, even though we're doing a lot of the same operational jobs that people do in, for-profit places. And because of that, a lot of the pressures, the things that make customer service, contact centers, call centers kind of pressure cookers for managers and directors and higher ups, that kind of gets removed. Like we're really proud, and I'm really proud of my teams we kind of call ourselves the call center, right?
Yeah.
And it's because, yes, do I track all those numbers? Absolutely. Do I review those with managers? Yes. Do my individual contributors even know that we're having the discussions? Not really.
Yep.
Like, I mean, if we feel like I said before, if we feel like there's a problem with handle time, it's our problem. It's management's problem. It's the university's problem. It's not the individuals taking the calls problem to solve. And if you don't make it their problem, then they won't worry about it. They'll just if it takes an hour, if it takes 2, go crazy. That's what that customer needed. And so that's where I really love where we're driving behaviors, and we're not perfect at it, but I think we're way better at it than say for a for-profit place where they're looking to meet KPIs. I've never once had a discussion with my managers or individual contributors. Hey, we need to meet XYZ KPI. We track it and we notice when it goes down, like if SLAs went from, I don't know, 80% answered in 30 seconds to now 60% answered in 60 seconds. Do we want to understand what happened? Absolutely. Like I don't want my customers to suffer and unnecessarily wait, but that is not the problem of my team to solve. That's me and my managers going back and saying, hey, what happened? Is it something that would and so if you don't make it their problem, if they don't even know, they probably don't even know what KPIs we're tracking, to be honest. And,
hey, full disclosure, I'm not so anti-K. We have KPIs too.
For sure. Yeah.
But I do think that it forces a conversation. Like this is a very healthy dialogue that I think that we're having here. And I just don't think it exists enough. Like, and you get into this space of, and it's really easy for me to just shit all over the BPO industry in particular because it's price contract metric. And that's the big problem. And if there's anybody that says that it's not a problem, please tell me why BPOs have such a bad reputation.
Right.
Because they don't have good reputations. There are solid BPOs out there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like, like BPOs are like the used car salesman of contact centers.
100%.
It's like
100%.
necessary evil. And it's because of that. So I think we are at the same conclusion because you're saying a lot of things that I do not disagree with KPIs. But I think saying, hey, death to KPIs, to get rid of it starts a dialogue that's a little bit more like, interesting. And if you go behind, like go a layer deeper, like don't just stop here, but like, why? What happened? Why is this continuing to happen? And it's not just, hey, tell them to work harder. Hey, no, I need you back from break right at your 15-minute mark. Hey, those are points because you drive a number that success is measured by 4 things. And
this is your scorecard. Your A hat was this. You took this many calls per hour. You go down the list. If that's what you're doing, then most people will conform to that. They'll figure out a way because it's self-preservation. They don't want to get fired. And so they're going to figure out a way to give you exactly what you want. But you have to ask yourself, if they just meet those numbers, is that what you want? Like, did that drive the behaviors that you wanted for your customers? Or are you just hitting KPIs for the sake of hitting KPIs?
Yep. It's a real problem. It is a real problem. And it would be interesting because I think if you were like standing up, if you and I were like working together on this and you were kind of seeing, I think you'd be like, oh my, yuck. Like some of the stuff that as you get more ingrained, and there's a whole political underbelly that a lot of people don't see inside of call centers in general. And I'm not talking about employees and their managers, but it's the software companies and the way contracts get assigned. And they're all centered around price and revenue share. And someday I'll just like blow the lid off that, like a Fox News report, but nobody will care. So there's just the ugliest underbelly to it. And it's all driven through the wrong shit.
Yeah.
It's not in the name of doing right, which brings me to the next thing that you put here.
Yeah.
And I'm curious why you disagree. So I want to challenge you because I did put that. We talked about blockbusters. There's BPOs coming in. They're going to be the Netflix. These old BPOs, we're going to blockbuster the situation. And you're like, I think you just said, like, how's that going to happen? So help me understand, like, when you see that, are you agreeing or you?
I'm agreed. Yeah. On that one, that was not a disagree statement. It was, I agree. And I wanted your take. I was kind of poking and prodding on your vision for Sonic CX because a lot of the things that there's 2 companies that kind of crushed Blockbuster. One of them kind of, completely demolished them. And the other one just kind of, they're like the one, like if Blockbuster was like doing teeter tottering, Redbox probably went like this. Boop. and they just kind of put them over the edge. Whereas the thing that made them teeter-totter to begin with was really Netflix.
Yeah, no
but
late
then Redbox came in and said, "Oh, dude, no late fees. It's right here out of vending machine style." But
Redbox had late fees, didn't they?
Did
Netflix,
they?
yeah, Redbox would be like, but they would charge you, but after like 30 days, you bought the video.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But basically,
Netflix
Redbox,
no late fees.
They would have a Redbox outside right next
McDonald's
to a Blockbuster.
everywhere, dude.
But then people realize, well, let's just stream it. So why do you even need Redbox? So my question was like, okay, you're disrupting BPO space. Great. But which disruptor are you? Are you Redbox or are you Netflix?
Netflix. Yeah. No, I got way bigger aspirations than Redbox. I don't want to be a fly by the night. Right. Redbox was solid. I think there's still some at Walmart's, but I definitely.
Real? Yeah, okay.
I think so. I don't know why. I don't even know.
Oh, like the entryway. Yeah.
I think I see them every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, our aspirations are Netflix. And it's just interesting. I could get into that like in some detail, but I think that you've got like your Teleperformances and your T-Techs of the world that have spent a shit ton of money to become well known. They've got a great reputation.
Yeah.
And fortunately for people like me and other BPOs, Sonic CX isn't like the end all be all. But they don't do that good of a job. So there's prime market space to come in and offer. And so like being obsessed with the P&L. I'll tell you an example of this and why I think it's going to happen. Yeah. And I've written about this before, but read they're publicly traded companies. Everywhere in their quarterly earnings report, it says only what they did to cut their costs, nothing about what they're doing to improve the experience for their customers.
Hello.
It's in plain writing. It's literally, look at how much margin we got. Look what we did to cut our costs. And you will not see any success stories about how they increased revenue for their customers. And they have earnings reports that are published on the internet, available for everybody to see. Drop it into AI if you want to go real lazy with it. Prove me wrong and just say, like, literally, this is what I did. I was like, hey, I took the earnings reports of these companies and I said, where in here do they talk about how they're trying to make things better for their customers? AI came back and said they don't. Because I wasn't surprised. I just wanted to prove that I was seeing it the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a great point. And like to you, I think what's your term that you coined? KRIs, not KPIs. Yeah. I love that because maybe not so much in the higher ed space, although we could get creative, right? Like with upselling people on master's programs and stuff like that. But like, that's probably the wrong way to paint it, but like, you get what I'm saying with that. But like for companies who have actual products and subscriptions and things that theoretically improve the customer's lives and provide value for the customer, what better time to ask or present an opportunity to the customer than when you literally just help them? Like you hopefully, right? I mean, if you didn't, then I guess that's where you need to figure out why. But let's just assume they had a great experience with you, and like that is a golden opportunity to say, hey, I noticed that you're on plan A. If you were on plan B, you actually, when you call in, you would have been bumped up to the priority queue. I'm making stuff up, right? Like, or if you were on plan B, like you would have, maybe this wouldn't have even happened to you because of the way the system works. And, I don't have any specific examples, but like you should know your product well enough to know that, especially people from support know how the products really help. Marketing thinks they know. Nope. Engineering thinks they know. Nope. They don't know. The software developers think they know. No, they don't have a clue. The people who know are the people who help the people who use it. And so who better than to present a viable opportunity after just helping them to improve their lives with a higher end product from that company.
Yeah.
It's just,
you get it, dude. Like I look at higher ed, right? And you're kind of in your space. you guys, it's interesting in its own right, because one thing, like, you're like, hey, we don't have the pressures that you do for like big corporate America. Really, it's about like just driving a wonderful experience, make it as best as possible.
Yeah.
And like, you look at it. So I'm going to use an example of what I'm trying to like preach, although this is probably going to sound stupid. But like, if you look at higher education, right? And like, we look at the KPIs inside of higher education. Well, my brain naturally goes to, who are these people when they call in, and do certain types of calls correlate to certain types of grades or certain types of teachers? And then like understanding like, hey, people that call historically 3 times for XYZ problem have a higher propensity to drop out. So now let's get them additional resources, right? And that's where I think companies like can, in the corporate world, get into this mindset of like, just close it, just close it, just close it, just close it. When there's so much valuable information, if you take it to that next level, take it to the outcome place, you can realize that there's a lot going on there. And that's like with Yellow AI, bro. They've got a lot of data that stops. Yeah. Because what Yellow AI won't know is what happens after the customer hangs up the phone. That information does not live inside their platform. Where the real information lives is inside the payment gateways. If you could correlate the two together and see like, this equals that, there's a lot of data.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there's a whole lot of other KPIs that aren't being tracked, that they need to marry up their systems and figure out what data is actually useful. And you pointed out, you made a couple of good examples of like, maybe the data is technically there and they just need to marry it up with the other data that they have. And then that could actually be an aha moment. The other part that has always boggled my mind is this insane focus with new customers. Like, I get it. You got to grow. Like, okay, for sure. No doubt you have to grow. I get it. But everybody knows, it's not a secret how dang expensive it is to acquire a new customer. And that's on the books. Like, every executive will tell you, oh my gosh, like, Google leads are so expensive, or this is that. And like, okay, good. Well, if that's true, why in the hell don't you spend just a fraction of the cost in like improving the experience of the ones who are already in the door? Like, and that is just, my mind is, I've never been able to rectify what is going on that across the board, people don't understand that.
Dude. Yeah. I know my microphone will probably cancel out the clapping thing, but kudos, bro, that yes. It is lazy math. It is lazy math. Some CFO, I want to figure out who this guy is. Charles Frank Orble, freaking back in the 1800s, just labeled customer service as a cost. And that conversation will go away. And I think even with AI being implemented, we'll get very good at measuring. But it is funny because being most of my career in sales, I've always been labeled as a revenue center. And like, yes. And then when you start to get in the customer service side, it's like, you know what? Customer service kind of gets the short end of the stick in a lot of ways, because they're labeled costs, but they shouldn't be. They literally should not be, because there's so much value that's just hiding over in that department that nobody's aware of because they're too far away.
Is a good, what is the business look? And you know more about the behind the scenes than me. I mean, I guess I have a finance degree, but that was like from forever ago. But like okay, when they look at like the cost of a Google lead, right? Is that viewed as an investment or a cost?
Wait, say that the cost per lead?
Per lead. Is that an investment or is that a cost?
It's an investment. They label it as a cost because it would be, but it is a cost, but it's just CAC to LTV. So
right, but yeah, exactly. But
an investment.
It's an investment, right? Yep. Okay. Yep. Why is that not the case with the service center, the support center, the call? Like, it's an investment. It's an investment towards the experience. Like, it's just they're so short-sighted.
A lovely way to put it.
Yeah. Like, if somebody, there a few companies get it. I think some companies get it. Like Zappos. I think they probably get it.
Yeah. A really good book like forever ago that was about their like, yeah, dude. Yes. And I think it is worth more people bringing this stuff up. And I love when people try to defend that, like, I've been doing this for 30 years. That's what there's nothing new here. And it's like, okay, bro, if you say so. What's the first step? What do they say, like in recovery? First step to is admitting you have a problem.
Admitting there's a problem.
Yes. And some people are just unwilling to admit it. But yeah, so that's
crazy.
fun, dude. I think this was cool. This is fun because you challenge me. We agree on everything.
Yeah.
For the most part. And like, I'm not going to speak for you, but you didn't say anything I disagree with.
Yeah, no.
So it's, but I know we're like almost at an hour. So is there anything you want to talk about as we wrap up or?
No, I mean, one thing that maybe I'll just mention here is back when, do you remember a company? When did you join Basque? Like, did you know
2014?
So you knew about Diggity. Did you know about okay. All right. So that's where I started with iTalk, but on the Diggity side of things, or I think they call it Digity, whatever.
Digity. Yep.
Yeah. I was really ticked off about that when that happened. Because it was Diggity, and then they decided to call. I get why they did it, but anyway. So and we had kind of a smaller support team. It was kind of like a startup within a company, essentially. But I knowing that people see the support center as a cost center, I'm like, let's figure out a way out of this, right? And so what we started doing is we started tracking. We would get our team, just like we're talking about, we would get our team to track leads, to hand over leads to the sales team. Yep. And then we would follow that lead. Luckily, we had Salesforce, so we'd follow that lead all the way through the funnel and see if it closed. And then if it closed for our model, that meant recurring revenue. And so now you have two numbers that we knew recurring revenue, and we knew average lifetime of a customer. So right there, that number we have. And so every time we closed a lead, we had a dashboard, and every time we closed a lead, we started just ticking up and ticking up and ticking up. We never got to it because just stuff happened. But my objective was to someday have had us fill that pipeline all the way up to where the recurring revenue that we gave to our sales team, essentially. And by the way, it was insanely easier to close one of our deals than to have them like cold do it or whatever. Yeah. My objective was to have that bar get all the way up and over the salaries and everything that it cost to run our support center, to basically say, hey, we paid for ourselves and then some. So don't come to me saying that we're a cost anymore. And so that was like where that was me, like kind of marrying up both worlds and satisfying kind of both ends of the deal. But yeah, I was definitely, I've been on this one for a while for sure.
It's good stuff, dude. So now this is where we do the fun part, and you get to this. We're going to go into rapid fire and basically what I'll be doing, I'm just going to ask you a series of questions. I literally just put them in Chat GPT. So this is not like we call it our rapid fire round. I've got in it. I'm going to read these for the first time. I want you to answer them quickly without like just first thing that comes to your mind. Yeah. So I'm going to hop. You're still going to see me, but I'm hopping over. So what is something you believe that most people in business disagree with? That's kind of a big question. You got to just go with what hits.
I think most people disagree that I think most people disagree that AI is going to be insanely awesome for us. I think people are really scared of it right now. And yes, there are things to be scared of, but I think it's going to be an amazing value add to humankind.
Human plus technology.
Yeah.
All right. What is, so let's go what's one mistake you'd make again?
One mistake that I would make again. Oh my gosh.
Hey, I warned you. We literally have inside of our chat GPT instance, a rapid fire chat room that we let it go. I can keep going, but
No, you're good. You're good. So one mistake that I would do again. Okay, this is the what side of this is me? Maybe this is the snarky side of me, but so I would still push back against a former CEO that you and I are familiar with on his perspective of our Basque contact center.
There you go. Bring it. Stand tall. Money or freedom?
Same thing.
Yeah. What's one thing you'd tell yourself 10 years ago?
Keep going. It gets better.
And last but not least, what does success actually mean to you?
Enjoying the moment, not worrying about the past and not fearing the future.
Awesome. Clancy, dude, it's good to catch up with you again, brother. Obviously, I'll end the recording and hang out with you for a second, but if there's anything that you want to say to the people before we cut?
No, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, for the platform and Sonic CX. You guys are doing a lot of great things. So I'm just happy to be part of it in a little way.
Appreciate you, brother. And